if a listener is interested in their school taking the next step and genuinely want to improve their school safety, what would you say is the best way for them to get started?
If you don't want to get it from us, still doesn't cost you that. Google tabletop exercises. Make your own. We got about 89 of them. We will give them to you, but only one at a time because we want you to.
Got
We
it.
want to know you use the last one. I'm not
Right.
interested in people stockpiling.
Right.
If you
Right.
want, the stop and think drills, we've got enough for you to do one every 2 weeks. We recommend every 3 weeks, but we'll get. Then there's the flip side. Most schools, and we would want you to do a tabletop exercise on it to learn about it. Have you thought about reunification? I pray you would never have to do it. The most likely time that you have to do reunification, and I hope that's not a foreign term to somebody, but it's about, hey, I've got to get these kids back to their parents, but it's under unusual circumstances, and I have to verify that they're all accounted for. Okay.
Right.
The most likely time, Miss Jenny, that will take place is if a visiting team comes to your school and something bad happens, like a sexual assault, and you cannot let them leave until the police come in and interview people with their parents. And so it's like getting the kid to the parents to the interview because you've got a crime scene on your hands. And we're like, how are you going to handle that? Because 300 or 400 index cards can be a nightmare, but it might be the only way you have. So do you do reunification? Let me go back one step before that. When you do a fire drill, any emergency, I would encourage one of the things, and a great resource would be to realize the two big problems in any emergency is there's not enough information or there's too much information.
Right.
And every school we see generally has certain things in both categories. Okay. And the too much information is this. I tell people I think I could be a third grade teacher. Not that I've been certified or anything like that. I'm not suited to be anything more than that. But I'm more, my favorite aunt was a third grade teacher. But I'm like, hey, if I was your third grade teacher and I had 19 kids in my class, but during this emergency, I have eyeballs. We call it the eyeball number. I have eyeballs on 18 kids. Do you really need me to take the bandwidth to download a class roll, check the names of the 18, and send it back to you? Or could I just tell you, I have 18 of my 19, but here's the one name of the kid I should have that I don't have?
Right.
Here's where it's missing on the other side of too little. Does your system allow a teacher that has an extra kid a way to report, I've got little Johnny that Jim's missing? I would encourage teachers, administrators, and to talk it over and says, how can we make it so that I can not have too much superfluous information and just say, this is who I'm missing, and also this is who I've got extra, and check it against the roll. Just on their own, even without any tabletops, even without any stop and think drills, but think through, if I had to do a reunification, if I had to do, and you have to do these fire drills and account for my kids, how could I do it efficiently? And one more, make sure your school's lawyers have helped you with knowing what do I have that's already prepared if I have to make a statement, but I don't have time to run it back through
Right.
them.
Yes.
And you've probably already done that. I know the school you were formerly at, and they were really good on top of those things. But we work with a lot of schools and they may be fairly large schools, but have never thought about.
Right. Right.
And so
Just
I would
'cause
like,
you
hey,
hope you don't need them doesn't mean you don't need to do them.
we want to provide tools that they can communicate. We have a
Right.
behavioral analysis tool. We're like, we think it's probably the only digital. We worked with 18 months with the Secret Service to develop a behavioral analysis because teen suicides are off the chart since COVID. They are exponentially increased. But I would encourage every administrator, even if you don't have active defender, you don't have anything, do you have a system in place at your teachers' meeting? And once again, I can give you a tabletop exercise so that if your homeroom teacher said, hey, I got little Tom Brady's. You know who Tom Brady is? He was this
Yes.
kind of football player, retired now.
Yes.
Yeah. But I got this little Tom Brady. He's real preppy, but he's kind of an introvert. You know what I mean? He's really smart, great athlete. And I got these little Dak Prescotts. That's another guy out there. He's, disheveled hair and a big grin, straight A student. Everybody kind of like totally different people. But your teachers know when they're not who they normally are.
Right.
Are you, as the administrator and their teachers, on a weekly or biweekly basis talking about the difference in those kids? Because the Secret Service says if one of your kids commits suicide, almost always, it is rare that there weren't at least 3 markers, but they were always so small. I noticed their clothing just wasn't up. They weren't participating anymore. Their writing looked a little dark. The cafeteria work, I noticed they really weren't eating. They would pick at their food. God allows people to see things, but they're like so small. I don't need to report them for that. This is not something you report a kid for. I would beg you to help your administrators find a system that you are talking about kids that have change in their life because you love these kids. You're not profiling them. You love
Right.
them.
Right.
And those parents have trusted you with something more valuable than their phone, that they wouldn't loan you their phone, they wouldn't loan you their car, but they're loaning you your kids for a few hours.
That's so true. And as we say so often on the show, school is not just about checking off those lesson boxes. It's not just about the academics. There's so much more, and school safety is right in there. Enjoyed this short clip? That was just a sneak peek into a full episode on the Teacher Edition podcast. We are passionate about supporting Christian educators like you. Looking for more inspiration and practical strategies you could use today? Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.